Star Wars Battlefront has been out for a number of months now. I first got it back in December, and one of my favorite game modes is Fighter Squadron. Now, in December, it wasn't much of a surprise that not many people were good at Fighter Squadron because third person and first person shooters are a dime a dozen, but flight combat is a little more rare. I thought in a month or two everybody would even itself out and there would be competition, but now in March, it still seems like not many people know what they're doing. They know the basics, but they don't really know the advanced tactics of warfare when it comes to A-wings and interceptors and even in the hero ships. So I'm going to go over Fighter Squadron from base to finish, talking about everything. And I'm going to start with the basics. Now, the basics of Fighter Squadron is you need 200 points to win the round. There are AI in this mode, and they give you 1 point toward that 200. And the actual individuals that you kill on the enemy team give you 3 points. There are 3 kinds of pickups and transports that I'll go over a little bit later. The 4 kinds of ships are the X-Wing, TIE Fighter, A-Wing, and Interceptor. Now, what DICE and EA tried to do is even it out, where both sides had a ship that was a little bit more powerful in firepower, but a little bit slower. And then the A-Wing and Interceptor would be the opposite, where their firepower was a little bit weaker, but they were a lot faster. This is one, in many cases, where they dropped the ball in this mode. The Rebels have an insanely large advantage in Fighter Squadron. In pretty much every aspect you can think of, the Rebels have the advantage, and this is one of them. The A-Wing completely beats out the Interceptor and the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. It is the greatest ship you can have in this game, aside from the Millennium Falcon and the Slave One. Now, the 3 pickups in this mode are vehicle repairs, refresh cooldowns, and hero pickups. Now, the vehicle repairs and the cooldowns, people kind of ignore. Whenever they see a hero pickup, they dodge for it. But the cooldowns and vehicle repairs are immensely important, especially the cooldowns. Every time you spawn, get a cooldown, because that knocks down your missiles and your shields. That knocks them down to 10 seconds before their refresh, aside from 20 like it would usually be. And once you get it, it stays for that rest of the life. And if you get a hero, it goes over to the Falcon or the Slave One. So get those pickups every time you spawn into this mode. Now, flying. This is something that a lot of people think they have down, but they really don't. Now, you use the left stick to fly, left trigger to lock on, and right trigger to fire. L1 and R1 are used for firing your specials, which the Rebels have a shield and a missile, and the Imperials have a boost and a missile. Now, the boost is kind of worthless unless you're in an evasive situation, and you can use the shield in an evasive situation. We'll go over that in a minute. But the actual evasive maneuvers put into the game, I see people using the left and right D-pad. You should use the up. The game comes with 3 evasives for every ship in the game, left, right, and up, and they're best used when a missile is coming at you, because then you can evade, break the lock, and get away from them. But if you use the left and the right, then you're kind of just still in their lane of fire, and they'll just take you down with their regular firing. So use the up. If you have the shield and the boost, put those on there and try and get away. Overheating. Do not overheat. If you hold down the right trigger too long, just like all the other modes in Battlefront, you will overheat, and you will be an easy target. Locking on. Now, this is something that people seem to have the most trouble with, even though they think they've got it. When you hold the left trigger for maybe a second and a half, you actually lock onto the ship as long as they're in your sights. And they think that after it's locked on, they are completely locked on and they can just fire and their bullets will hit, but they won't. They will for missiles. But once you lock onto a ship in Fighter Squadron, that white dot in the middle of your crosshairs becomes controllable with the right stick. And after you lock on and they move, you need to get that white dot to follow their ship, either leading them or ahead of them or straight on them if they're just going straight ahead. And that is how you get more accurate when it comes to locking on. Now, the tactics. I'm going to go over offensive tactics first and then defensive tactics. 2 of these tactics I came up with myself, so I just named them. But the first one is something I actually saw in an interview with one of the developers of this mode. And he stated that the speed up and slow down, which is forward and back on the left stick, it's your throttle, that yellow bar above your health. A lot of people actually don't even know what that bar is, even though they're speeding up and slowing down. He said that at your top speed, your damage output is minimized, and at your lowest speed, pretty much standstill speed, it's maximized. Now, I don't know how much merit there is to that. I use this tactic a lot, but not just because of that, but because of accuracy. So the speed up slow down tactic is what I call it. You fly into battle like you usually would, but when you have somebody in your sights, you slow down, you pull back on the throttle, and you line up with them or follow them slowly. You fire on them or fire your missile, and then right when they're dead, you speed back up and spin out of there before you become an easy target. You do this repeatedly, as you see the clips of me doing it right now. Now, the two missile tactics that I just came up with, and I'm sure other people use them as well, but I just named them the quick missile and the post-evasive missile. Now, the quick missile is best used, or is only used, when someone is coming head-on at you. A lot of people try and fire missiles at you from a long distance, and they're easily evadable. But when someone is close to you, or just a ship in passing, if you lock on for just 1 second and then fire that missile right before they go past you, it will spin back and hit them in a matter of about a second and a half. They won't really have much time to dodge it or throw on their shields or do an evasive. They'll just be dead. And I found that's the best use of a missile. There's also the post-evasive missile. Now, when you're following behind somebody at top speeds, one of their first decisions is to do their evasive, which is hit up on the D-pad and they fly up and in a circle. This is when the slowdown tactic actually works. When they are doing this, if you're going fast and you try and do that spin around, by the time you circle around, they're already spun back into the chaos and you've lost them. But if you slow down and twist with them, then fire your missile, they're already out of their evasive maneuver. They're probably out of their shields at this point if you've been following, and it's an easy kill. Now let's move on to defensive. Shields versus boosts. Shields have an extreme advantage in this game, whether it's you're about to get head on and you turn your shield on to go through them, or in any evasive situation. Once you get locked onto, turn your shields on, do an evasive, and don't just end it there. Don't do your evasive and then just go straight and think that everything's fine. Continue spinning in a wide arc in a circle, either going up or down or twisting. Just go completely insane, zigzagging in the air to lose them. And if they stay on you, then do the slow turnaround. Now, this is again speed up, slow down only on defense. If you are spinning around them and they're also spinning around you trying to get you, then dead stop and let them go around you, and they usually go full throttle trying to catch up with you, so you get a clear shot at them. There's also, of course, the spinning. Whenever you don't have an evasive, spin in a high arc or a low arc and try and twist out of their line of fire. Next, we've got transports. Now, transports are important. Even though 90% of this game mode, the rebels will win. The only way you'll beat them is if you are a good player, another person is a good player, and everybody on the rebels has no idea what the hell they're doing. The transports, once destroyed, give you 20 points to that overall 200 we mentioned earlier. It's pretty much the only objective in this game mode besides getting kills. A lot of people ignore them. I don't see why, because even if you wanted to ignore the objective, it's easy kills. There are people lining up behind this thing that whether you're shooting at them or not, they will not move. I don't know why everybody just kind of stands still, trailing behind this transport, but if you follow that transport, stay a couple clicks back, you will get TIE fighters or X-Wings or whatever side you're on lining up, and you'll get 5-7 easy kills right off the bat, even more if you're a hero, which is what we're going over next. The heroes. Now, the hero pickup time and locations, they always pop up at around 9 minutes, which is about 1 minute into the game. And the locations are always in the same spots. They have 1 or 2 locations, maybe 3 on certain maps that they pop up, and that's it. So, once you go into the game, the first thing you need to do is get a refresh. Get a couple kills, maybe 1 or 2, and then once it gets about 20 seconds till, fly low, go slow, circle, and wait for that pickup. Now, I can't tell you where they are, you just got to take a mental note of where these things are. How to attack them is pretty much the same way you attack the transport. Stay behind it. Twist with them. Do not let them get out in front of you. And ignore the vehicle repairs. They only heal 1 health. Now, this is a kind of controversial trick. A lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it, and it has been patched to some degree, but not as much as it should have. You've probably heard about it or seen it, the Falcon trick. Now, before, all you had to do was turn your shields on. Now, there's a bit of a time span in between. What you do is, when you're the Millennium Falcon, you go towards Slave 1, you turn your shields on, and you go straight through them, while taking only 12 damage yourself. You get 100% of the damage on Slave 1, you get an easy kill and an easy 5,000 points. Aim for that window, that front window. That is the best chance you have of just going straight through them. Some other times you kind of glitch past or just slide off the side. Now, you can also get them from the back. It's a little bit more difficult. Hit a boost and hit them from the back with a shield. Now, if you want to test this stuff out, they do have private matches now, and if you want to find some people to play with, there is a fly or die community based around Battlefront's Fighter Squadron mode. There are a lot of good players there that could even show you more tactics, and I'm a part of it too if you ever want to play with me. So, I hope this has helped, and let's hope that Fighter Squadron gets a little bit more even in the future.